By the way, if you keep coming back, I will just keep calling your name. Nothing special. These guys have not paid me to market them. Chris is here. Chris, congratulations on your job. I was so happy to hear that. Great. So what are we going to talk about? Generally, people do this in first 5 minutes. They just tell you like where you are coming from, all that. We just talk to people and I just get updates. So first, we're going to talk about predictive AI, GenAI, agentic AI. What are the differences? We'll try to evaluate them across 10 or more metrics and see how they are different, how you measure them differently, how their challenges are different. Because as a product manager, you need to know which product is in which category to decide investments, to decide stakeholders, to decide the feasibility of the program. So that's the first thing I think you should build that muscle. And I will try to build it today for you. And you need to help me just saying things loud. Few rules. I will go first, and then I will give you 2, 3 questions in between. And I'm trying to land 4 sections today. So, today I'm short on time, like 10 minutes. So I will talk for 5, 6 minutes, and then I give you 4 minutes, and then 6 minutes, then 4 minutes. Sounds like a plan? Then we'll talk about building AI agents, the core components of a multi-agent system, how they come along. Then I will talk about monitoring and optimization, which we have never spoken before, because I learned from people who gone through a few loops. Also, inside, I'm seeing this new requirement in PRDs or in one pagers that people are asking, okay, what is the monitoring requirements for an AI agent? What is AI agents optimizations that I am supposed to do, or what the hooks I need to place in the product? And that should come from you rather than coming from engineering. So I'm going to talk about that. And then in the end, I will spend some time. Shobik, can you? Oh, yeah, Shobik, thank you. Shobik was like, let me just show you, show everybody I'm here. Okay, Shobik, you're here. So then we're going to talk about future, which is where I see this is my personal perception of how I'm seeing vertical agents evolve and what are the opportunities in this space. And then I can stay back for 30, 15 minutes for Q&A. Sounds like a plan? It's a highly packed session today. So just uh, put your seatbelts. It will go like a roller coaster ride today. And there is a lot I'm going to land. But the idea is to get you started in 2025 fast and give you a lot of homework. So all of you can say, I have something to do. Good. Okay. First thing first, which is before even I go to predictive or Gen AI, I'm going to show you this cool stuff that I found, which is how can you build your first agent? And it's no code tool. It's called Langflow. Anybody here who has tried Langflow, raise your hand. Kayuri says, let's go, Mahesh. Okay, Sumitra has done it. Great. That's all we needed. If Sumitra did it, we need not to try anything. So this is a cool tool. What it does is if you go here, it opens up like this. You can just say new flow. You can take anybody's else flow and import it, or you can start with a simple agent. When you start with a simple agent, it has all of connectors, all of input output, and it shows you a simple agent. This agent is calling these two tools, and it's a drag and drop. So all you do is you drag and drop, and then you're good to go. Let me see if I can pin myself. Somebody else. Karan, can you pin me? Because I don't want to see Shobik. I want to see myself. Right now, Shobik is on my screen.
Sure, sure.
Perfect. Okay. So agents, you can specify different agents like OpenAI keys, their keys, and that's pretty much it. You can attach vector stores. It has pretty much everything under the sun, and it's drag and drop. And then you can build your own agents out of it. Then you will say, oh, Mahesh, this is cool. We'll definitely try it, but have you tried it? I would say, yes, I tried it. So what I did is I built a simple one. So I just modified it. And what it does is it takes a URL and then I told it to write a blog for me. Do you want to see it? So basically nothing. I just modified the one that I got out of box. And I said, okay, this chat guy, take a URL. And this guy, I modified the instructions to create a compelling blog with what framework, which we learned in the course. So if you've done the course, then it's okay. If you have not done the course, it's okay too, because this is just a prompt. And then I said finish. And now I can just run it. and I can give it a URL like the one that I tested before. So I was reading this, but I thought if I need to write a blog on this, you just give that URL and then it starts running the flow. And while it's running the flow, you can actually check the flow. So I will stop and you will see. So now you will see this is 18 seconds, 18 seconds, and now it's at this step and it says it's building. And then you will see it getting executed. And once it executes, what you will get is if you go to playground, you will get something like this. So it has already doing it, but I will show you the output anyways. And here is my blog. This article discuss Jan LeCun. Jan LeCun, as you know, I follow. This is the Meta AI chief scientist. And here is my new one. So my blog is ready, up and done. Then I can change many things. And then I said, okay, this is great, but this sounds like a copilot experience where I give it a URL, it gives me this. Why not automate it? Every time I get an email, I get a lot of emails from because I've signed up for all these influencers and their newsletters. So then I said, let me build an agent, and this this agent should be able to read all these newsletters, find the best top thing that everybody's talking about, and then create this blog, and then send me an email back saying, I have created a draft, now you can enjoy. So I chose this topic, I created this, and now you can go and do on top of this. Science sounds good. That's what I'm going to give you as a gift today. I'm not going to walk you through that today, but if you go here, the next one, we have, thanks to Neeraj and Sachin, they have posted it on GitHub. This is my next agent. This agent teaches you, not me, how to use Langflow, how to connect your Gmail and create this flow. So first, this tool, Composer tool, basically integrates with your Gmail, reads the email. This agent extracts and finds the right URL. This agent get the URL in text form, and then I take the prompt, and then finally I generate my response and publish it. All you have to do is, if you want to reproduce this, you can just go to the same thing. So this repo has a JSON file in it. So this repo has a JSON file. Just download this one and then go here, and instead of saved, say import, and select that file, and you open it, and you got a new flow. You see this composable tool, and then you can authenticate your own email address here. It will ask you what email, and then you can set things up. Sounds good? Okay, can you please share the GitHub link, Mahesh? Ashutosh, take the slides. Everything is on the slides, and all the links are in this doc. So today, just follow this, and hopefully somebody can paste the links also. But just take the slides because there's a lot of homework for you. Okay, this is my first. See, I'm doing so efficiently today. I've done my introduction and I have introduced you to a no code tool. But today, this is not a dev session, it's a PM session. So I'm going to just stop here, give you a lot of homework. But this tool is amazing. So far, there are some here and there things that this tool can do better. But I think it's a very powerful tool if you're building your agents in 2025, and it's no code, and you can connect this to your front end also. So if you are done, you can just take it as an API, and then you can connect it this much code, and you can have your own front end, and you can start taking feedback on your products. So I'm going to leave you with that. We'll take this example and now try to understand all the product related things which come in our way or which we need to think through. I will stop here and I will give you 2 minutes to ask questions. Shoot now. I will stop sharing too. Anybody say Langflow is more? How
Yeah,
about OpenAI keys?
I had
Yes,
have
you need to
question.
enter. You
I
have to
also
open up. You have to get OpenAI keys. You have to enter your own OpenAI keys. If you don't know that, our GitHub has instructions on how to get OpenAI keys also. Sorry, please raise your hand and then it's a little easier. Anyone you want to share their experience on Langflow? What doesn't work? What works? My job is to just open up a community for you. It's not like I'm selling LangGraph. What other frameworks? LangGraph has integration to Crew, LangChain, and other frameworks. So if you look on the left-hand side, you will see all pretty much popular ones. So I think all I need to build apps is if somebody gives me LangChain or Crew, then I'm good to go, and it has both of those. Sayam.
Yeah, I had a question. So when it comes to building tools, the most important part of that is figuring out use cases, right? So as you figured out a really good use case of when you get a lot of emails from on your email from your favorite creators, it summarizes those emails and give you a summary. So that saves your time, right? How and what would be an accurate way to actually find use cases which people are ready to pay for? Because learning these tools obviously makes sense when you can make products which solves use cases which people are ready to pay for, right? So if you can shed some light on it.
Great. Thank you. This is a topic that I will cover today. This is very important and relevant. So just hang on to it, Shayam. We're going to talk about like how to find use cases, because a lot of people are talking about AI, a lot of people are talking about agentic AI, and Sayam mentioned, yes, now you are showing some tools which can even make it easier to build them. But what should we build and how to find that would be something we should spend 5-10 minutes today, Sayam. So just pin that question and we'll cover it in third part. Pavan, last question by Pavan, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, Mahesh, actually I have question related to Langflow. In case of Langflow, can we give the human input that you think so? Because it is drawing the flow chart that just like right. If we are giving
Mhm.
the flow chart, that means we are passing the document right all the things. So
Mhm.
can I give a human input here? That means in middle while doing the process from one yes that you think.
Yeah. So can I take a human input?
Yeah.
I believe yes. I've not tried it, Pavan, but they
Okay.
have this idea that you can take the output and ask it to the user input section, and then it will prompt the user to give you whatever you're stuck on.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
not really designed for that,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
but we need to discover that. So maybe you want to go do that and let us know how to maybe add it and send a pull request.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, somebody asked which integrations it provide or third party. All these are there. So they have LangChain, they have Assembly AI, Notion, Crew. These are the major one I can think of. Compose, Firecrawl, Git, YouTube. So pretty much everything that under the sun that you will need is there. Okay, let's try to reach Sayam's question. So let's head to the next section today. So, okay, now we know how to create no code agents, which are better than what we did in the course, which was we build it using GPTs from ChatGPT and we connected our API. This I found to be little simpler and much more capable. And it has variety of, if you are talking to, let's say, Google, then Google does want to see like Gemini APIs. You can just try the same flow on Gemini APIs. You can try it on open source models also. So that kind of flexibility, I think, is a clear advantage. And second is you can build this and then have on this your UI or your product. That way, GPTs did not offer that. This one has it. So these are the two major ones. And then this whole idea of drag and drop and trying things was super cool, because no matter what, how much I like collabs, it was not as simple and cool as just drag and drop. So with these three ideas, I leave you with LangGraph, and hopefully you can build your first agent today. I know you came to just do that, but I wanted to do more today because this is the first big session. Okay, predictive versus Gen AI versus agentic AI. Most of the people were worried about these. People are asking about these, like, hey, what do you think this scenario entails, or what do you think if I am building apps in AI, I can deal with three kinds of AI apps. One is the predictive ones, which were I think 2010 to 2018 was mostly popular. These are going from 2018 till now. And these agentic ones is started in 2024, I would say, and will go forever, hopefully. My course depends on it, so I wanted to. So these are the three. Okay. I put the timelines, and I think you all need to help me. So let's quickly go through few ideas of how will you differentiate these, or how will you check if they are different in any way. Okay, so let's do it. It is a quick round. Just say the name and I will put it. Let's say what primary function. If that's my take, what would be it? Anyone? Just say it. I'm looking for one word answers here.
Usable generation for GenAI.
Crypto analytics.
Crypto validator. So this one use historic data.
ఎందుకు వర్క్ లేదు
Okay.
ఇక్కడ చాలా పాలిటిక్స్
Yes, yes.
మute,
please, mute. Thank you very much. That was very helpful. This one based on historic data, find patterns, and then make those predictions for future.
Stock data and
This was the one. This does generation. This does automation using tools. Example, Janvi. Janvi, you want to give an example? Janvi gives very good examples.
Example of
Janvi.
which one?
All three with one, like if I want to just get a match, maybe that's what your best. I wanted to give your example, but you were there, so I thought maybe you can give. I know this one you gave earlier, which is this is a friend which tells you for a date.
Okay, now
This
I
one
know where this
actually
is going.
sets the date. This sets the date. And this one is like you go to internet and it says where can you find dates, which websites. Which website will work for you, give you a recommendation of a website based on your data. This is basically a friend which will generate a lot of dates, and this will go ahead and book them for you. Sounds good?
Mahesh, we can also do in stocks, for example, previous stock data analysis, algorithm predictive, stock plus stock market trends analysis and news trends analysis, GenAI, but no function of action. And Agentic AI would be a stock buyer with guardrails.
So this one just buys for me, huh? This is my day trader.
I mean, buy, sell, whatever, like action on the stock market, day trader with.
Okay, this one is perfect. What's the difference between these two? I couldn't differentiate between
So
these two.
predictive stock trends, that's historical data analysis, but no news analysis per se. So it's only data and financial markets analysis. The GenAI one will also include, all the news and, for example, all the background of what is happening with stocks. So for example, why it fell, what increase, what market, trends were there. So mostly NLP analysis, like news article analysis as well here. And
okay, so this one takes all my data, all my trading histories, and gives some predictions. And this one takes a 10K of a company and gives a summary saying a trend in that market and what star I will give this company based on their 10K and compare it with other 10Ks in the same industry.
Correct. Buy
and this one use this data as well as this data and actually start doing day trading.
Yep.
Okay, great. I am in the right forum today. Thank you. This was very helpful. Okay, great. So we got one thing out. If those are the ones, what are the key product metrics you will use to measure them?
Accuracy, predictive.
Awesome. Accuracy. Can I say precision recall here also?
Yes.
Precision recall makes more sense because some labels are very rare.
Yes, great. Accuracy, precision recall, error margins, confidence.
Speed.
All those were here.
Speed of
Let's go here.
the model.
Speed, I think, is cuts everywhere. So I'm just looking for something precision, but answer is correct. Speed is something everybody measures, but I was looking specifically for predictive. What will you measure when I am generating these summaries? Or when I'm generating like
Blue score.
what?
Blue score.
Blue score. What is blue score?
Actually, full form.
Sorry. Uh, it's I think it's a recall of yours
summarization.
versus whatever the ideal is, and then it
Summarization.
takes yes.
In case of
So blue
summarization.
score, rook score, but I don't wanted these. Let me make it a little simpler. So yes, I wanted to see faithfulness. I wanted to see coherence.
Bias.
I wanted to see relevance. Bias everywhere. But relevance, is it relevant? Is it coherent? Is it human aligned? There is another metrics people follow these days, which is chat GPT similarity. GPT similarity, which is another one. Great. Okay. So now we have these. What will be same for agentic?
Task
That's where all the
completion?
goes. Now
I think it would be task completion would be the first.
Efficiency and task completion.
Now you just took a cheat sheet of whoever said efficiency. They should take it from Sayam, so I will give it to Sayam. Sayam said task completion. Great job. And efficiency, this is great one, which is how many turns and efficiency can be divided. I wanted more. When you say efficiency, you can say tokens consumed and turn taken to solve that, right? So I have one agent which takes only 5 tokens, and your agent takes 5,000 tokens. My agent can solve it in 1 turn. Your agent takes 100 turns. So that's your efficiency. Anything else?
Satisfaction, because like whenever you complete a task, it gives you that
I
star.
put it in here. I will keep it at task completion. Sorry, I'm trying to be fast today.
Workflow.
I will just
What I meant here is as a feedback. So when we complete using an agent, it asks for us as our feedback. So we have to give it stars. I would not consider it as task completion. I don't know how to put it, but like
But if you
whenever
completed
agent,
the task, you are not coming in between, right? You
no,
told
no,
them
no.
to buy
The task is
stocks for
complete, then
you.
it how do I put this? Satisfaction.
Yeah,
You
NPS score. You can say NPS,
NPS,
Net
yeah.
Promoter Score. Net Promoter, CSAT, any of those. What I was looking for a little bit more. So this is the correct answer, NPS, CS, CSAT. Maybe manual intervention reduction. This is a new one, which it contradicts on what we were saying earlier. But most of the agents today also require human to be called, which is what Pavan was asking earlier, that I'm building a multi-agent, but I should have a trigger where I can bring the human in and take his input or her input. And how many times you need that? Because you can build an agentic workflow, but if most of the times you're calling a human to help, then it completes the task. It has a great NPS, it has great efficiency, but you're still bottlenecked on humans. Okay, keep these 4 things in mind. Keep these ones. You guys are making an awesome progress already. I'm almost done with this one, but tell me limitations. Okay, we are measuring. We know how to measure. We know what they are. What are the limitations of these? Anyone?
Data for
Nobody?
predictiveness.
Great.
Needs data
We
quality.
need data, right? Data quality, lot of data. Also not creative. Can I say that? Okay, let's move on to the next one. We got these limitations. Next one. Sorry?
Compute, power, hallucinations.
Wow, who said that? I just why don't you take this session? Compute, power, hallucination. Well done. Exactly. We have made them really creative, but they have to answer a question. There's no idea of confidence. These guys said, I'm confident. I have 90% accurate, 90% confidence. Then you can put a filter. There's nothing like that here in the world of generative AI. They will hallucinate all the time, and you have to measure it. You have to somehow figure it. It just has to answer the question because it's a next word predictor. It comes from unstructured data. That's why a lot of compute, and it's not trivial to build it. So building, and then because it's a lot of compute, I will just take power for granted. Good. Next one. Can I say a little bit bias? It starts having biases which you don't control.
100%.
Awesome. Sayam is helping me today. Okay, great. Last one. One example may not be 100% accurate. Yes, that's hallucination and never 100% accurate. Great, Janvi. Last one, agentic AI. What are the
And
limitations?
it's not. Oh, Mahesh.
Can somebody just say nothing works?
Token.
Nothing
The
works.
number of manual interventions required, I mean, where you rely on manual.
So I think, first of all, it's not mature. Mostly immature frameworks has not yet reached a point where you can just take something and build on top of it. It requires a lot of handholding, a lot of integrations, and mostly custom integrations which don't work in production. I can make it work for my Gmail, but then if I want to build something that scales, that doesn't exist today.
It's got poor veracity.
Then,
it's got really poor veracity because everything's moving so fast under the covers. You can build a solution and it can work today, but if you look at it in a week's time, it might not work.
Correct. So stability, especially in production, is a huge challenge, and custom integrations. Good. So now you know the limitations, you know what it is, you know how to measure its success, you know its limitations also. You're already in like top 5-10% of people who I talk to. If you can remember all this.
Learning curve, Mahesh, for an organization like manufacturing floor to top floor, maybe.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Means anybody who is trying to build or use agents needs to be trained on them, and especially if you're trying to reduce the human people who are gonna still, there will be human who will call these AI agents, and they need to know their limitations. They need to be upskilled. They need to be trained. And today nobody is doing that, and most of the industry are untouched by their capabilities or how to make them useful for them. So all that 100% agree. Can we go to the next one?
The feedback as well. You've got that feedback loop. So
Correct.
you've got so a bit like DeepSeek and their architecture, where you're using agents against agents to do effectively check whether or not and validate whether or not something's accurate or not, in order to reduce the workload that you're doing.
Great answer. So you're saying they have to have a reinforcement learning loop.
Yeah.
And that's not easy because it can be done differently. One thing I want to just clarify, DeepSeek does not do an agent versus agent at inference. They have done it at the training time. So what they have done is they have used a model which is trained with reinforcement learning to generate long COT data. And then they have used it to find which reason. But once the model is in production, it's doing straight reasoning. There's no checks inside DeepSeek which says this answer, let me check. It comes up with a long chain of thought, and that model is trained by reasoning. But happy to discuss it someday more.
Yeah, there's a couple of financial services companies I've spoke to in the last 2 weeks that are building out using a DeepSeek model, and they have they have put in a reinforcement learning by using GPT and Claude Sonnet 3.5 to go out and qualify.
Perfect. Last one that I want to talk about, and you can give me any other field that I have missed. I will talk about scalability. We touched on it. Performance, cost efficiency, anything else? What I'm missing?
Heterogeneity, Mahesh.
Degree of human intervention. Heterogeneity, explain it. Talk in
Heterogeneity would be yes. So like look at an OPC adapter, for instance. An OLE for process control interacts directly with manufacturing hardware in an oil refinery or oil and gas drilling company. But then when we go from shop floor to top floor, where it's more IT systems like SAP and PeopleSoft and so on, or any integration middleware, then it's more communication with different APIs, maybe REST APIs as an example. So the paradigm shift in communication, that's what I mean in heterogeneity of platforms. That's a challenge. I don't know if that lands in this context.
I think
came to
it
me
will cut
for
through
the-
everything. Means those organizational challenges are not going away with a new tool offering. So any tool you have ever built, you have always gone through that problem of which tool should apply at what layer. Let's talk last thing, which I was waiting for you to come up with. One is human intervention, less, more, and less. Can I say that? At least the vision is that.
Yeah, I think
Last thing, one thing I'm missing.
There's a question about replicability as well. So we're still looking at, can we get the same answer multiple times?
That's what I was looking for. Thank you. Let's put a responsible AI angle, and let's say bias, reproducibility, transparency,
control,
fairness. How are these traits there? Which one is most? Which one is least?
Predictive, more responsible AI behavior.
So this is more. So I should say good.
Mm-hmm.
Better,
this
I think.
This one?
It's kind of okay. In between. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah.
Can we say that? Can we all agree that this one was our best bet? We had confidence. We had a lot of data to do drift detection. We have a lot of data and use tools like Fiddler to find out how we came to a question or how we answered it. If we made a prediction, we can tell why that prediction was. We went to GenAI. Our models are not ours. People who trained us don't tell us how they trained it. And most of the answers are just answers. And it's not easy to reproduce those answers. They are trained with a lot of biases, a lot of guardrails. And if something goes wrong, there is no way to find out. Here, because you are integrating your APIs, you have a lot more control to the flow or to the job to be done, and you can stop it. You may not need to expose everything to the customer. So you can just say job done or not done. But in between, there is a lot of bias going on. There's a lot of challenges, but they are not exposed to the customer. That's why I put a dot rather than giving it the worst rating.
I'd probably say it's only 1.5 versus 2.5. I still think you've got all the same problems with bias. You've still got all the same problems with reproducibility. Easy for me to say.
No, we need not to debate this one. I agree to that. This and this and that, and then we can work on the numberings. Okay. If that's the case, now we understand predictive AI and non-predictive AI. Then this is our part 2. We're doing good on timing today. So what is your homework? I want you to build an app. Now I told you how to build apps. You can use the LangGraph one. And I want you to build one app in each of these 3. One should do just predictions. And the second phase of this should do GenAI. And third phase should do Agentic AI. And you can build all 3 with LangGraph or the tools that we have discussed in this community before. And if you're having challenges, I can just send you projects in each one. So please try that. Here's an example. First, you can just take a key entity extractor. It's an API. You give it a contract and just fetch what are the top entities in it. It's an API you can get. And you find all the entities, like what is the company, who are the people, what are the dates. It's out of box. It will also give you confidence, and you will see whatever it claims most of the time is true. Second, you can build a Q&A bot using Langflow, which we just discussed. And then you can automate it by saying, hey, you know what? Every contract that comes to my email, put it into this CRM system. And while you put it, don't put the whole contract. Give me these 20 terms and also find 5 risks and send me an email if any of those risks, or if you find any risk for me before I sign this contract, please let me know. So imagine somebody sends you a contract. Your bot goes and reads this contract and finds out if there are any risks. And if there are, it sends those risks. It put comments in that doc and says, please ask the other party to modify them. Okay. So Sayam, this is one idea, and we will discuss much more, but this is a production scale idea. You can just go build it. And if you build it, I promise I can help you sell it. Okay, next one. Great. So now we're going to build things, building AI agents. So how can we build actually AI agents? So let's talk about that. We did a whole session on this. So I highly recommend you. But now you know there is a tool of no code how to build AI. You know what are the differences. You know limitations of these systems. You know when to call what system. Not always that you need to build an agent. Not always you need to have a GenAI application. You really need to know what you need to build based on the limitations and based on your metrics or based on your requirements of your customers. But let's say you're going to build an agentic AI app. What are the things you need to know, or what are the building blocks? Let's take those. I'm going to stop sharing again. Oh, I needed to give you time for questions. Take 2 minutes. Any questions in part 2? I think we were made it very interactive, so I want to go on, but anybody? Okay, great. Let's build agentic apps. Okay, what's the difference between an agent or a Q&A? How a Q&A bot? Tell me 2 things that I need to have if I'm building agent. Agents have what? They have agency. Agency comes by
Self-reliance.
Self-reliance. That's a word. Tell me something more. Self-reliance.
Reasoning.
Self-reliance. How you build self-reliance?
Autonomy.
Autonomy. How you get autonomy?
Janavi, you're speaking. No, I don't have any more words. Janavi, please.
Janvi, go ahead. Say it. Somebody, it starts with T.
T.
They have tools, and they have something called agency by function calling, right? So they know which functions to call. So they have these tools, which are nothing but functions to do actions. And if they can do actions, then they have autonomy and they have self-reliance. So what they have is they have something called knowledge, which is how the world works. They know somehow. Either the model provider trained them with the knowledge, or they have, so this is your agent. Then it has actions or tools, and then it has somebody self-reliance, I can say reflection, right? So if somebody says agent go do this, which is change the state of X to Y, which is I gave it a contract and I said, hey, tell me if there are risks on it, highlight those for me. So it will go and check its knowledge and say, hey, tell me what could be a risk on this type of a contract. Based on that, then it has integration into Word. There is a tool in Word. It goes in, it opens the document, it put comments, it redlines, strikes out all the bad things, all the risks, put reasons. Then it also has reflection, which is it checks those and says, hey, did I did this right? Is this just competition I'm trying to suppress, or actually I'm adding any value? And is the state changed? Do I have all the risks figured out? Do I have a summary of the contract? And if another tool was to enter it into CRM, let's say they have Airtable or Hotspot, HubSpot, HubSpot, or Salesforce, then this guy will go and integrate there also. So now I'm changing the state of the world, right? Because with my knowledge, I understood the contract, and now I have changed the state of the world by adding these into my CRM system and using Word to do comments, and then I'm doing reflection, and then I can send it back if it works. If it doesn't work, if it failed somewhere, I will fetch more knowledge, I will have more actions, and I will continue this loop. So far, so good. Understood how agents work?
Yeah.
So if that's what they do, then I can say agents do few things very, very cool stuff for agents is they have focus. This is multi-agent systems now. They have tools. They have guardrails. they have a way to cooperate or some protocols, and they have a common memory. And on top of this, they have an orchestration layer also, which decides who to do what or when to do what. Correct? If all these are there, then can I write this as a diagram that changes my world, at least? So if I go here, then what happens is you go and you ask the agents to get me a date, risk in the contract. And the orchestration says, okay, I have a lot of agents. One agent can read this contract and find risks. One agent can read the contract and update your CRM. Based on the customer request, I need to see which one. It calls the agent. It can have a human in loop also. At some point, it can call this human. And if the job is done, this agent goes and updates this memory, which updates the orchestrator. The orchestrator says, okay, seems like the job is done. This is the reflection, the guardrail part. It does the checks. And if any check fail, it asks for a better response. And it goes back again. This continues. And maybe it breaks after 4 or 5 tries. That's your max. Or the job is really done. And then you check past and you send me an email saying, Mahesh, I read the contract. It's perfect. Go ahead, sign it. Or Mahesh, I read the contract. I have commented all the bad things. Can you ask the other party to change these 3 things? Sounds good? This is how pretty much anybody who's talking about multi-agent frameworks or asking you questions on multi-agent, or if you are writing requirements on any app which needs to become AI agentic, you have to tell them what is the role, what are the guardrails requirements, which tools it will support, and how everything will come along in this journey. So creating those flows or that user guide, and when user does this, which components does what on the left hand side also is needed. We'll put some samples in upcoming sessions, or if you decide to join the course, we are creating another sample of a perfect requirement of an orchestration like a multi-agent system. So this is that.
In guardrails, are you including things like bias in there? So bias detection and also the grounding truth. So let's say
this guardrails we put up here, is like combination of all the guardrails. So it will have helpfulness, honesty, harmless, and harmless can be the criteria for that can be bias, and honesty is what you're talking about guardrails. But that's catch-all bucket for all the checks.
For everything. Okay, and what about the context of the user? So let's say I am in a particular state in America that has particular employment laws, and I need it to review a contract or property laws based on local laws, not generic law. Where would that sit? Is that memory?
Yeah. So it's not the memory. It's this agent, and the agent has this idea of a RAG, but you can expand it to say that this will look at the signals. So this is an agentic RAG system, which has access to your documentation, but also access to your signals. So in your case, it will go and says, okay, this user is in United States. In United States, we apply these data policies, let's say CCPA compliance. Then it will go and say, according to CCPA compliance, if data breach 48 hours is not reported, that should be a risk. And then that's a very specific signals. If I live in California and United States, then it will go and do that job or do that risk. But if the other user here doesn't live in US, it won't fetch that signal. So that integration is the signal agent. So you have the knowledge.
So I'm going probably more granular than that because I'm thinking through the different state property laws. So let's say the percentage tax that you have to pay that comes liable within a particular contract, right? If you've got a contract with in a particular state, then how does it know from those things that you've got? Where does it look at to get that knowledge?
Yeah. So as we discussed right earlier, let's say this is your agent, or your agent has 3 things, right? It has the word knowledge, and what you are asking about is one is the documentation, and then it has a signal store also. And with that, it knows what is the current state of the world, which is I live here and I have this contract. And then it has actions that it can take. So from here, I fetch what signals you have, or which user you are, or what state you live in, or what is your compliance requirements. Based on that, I find what is your current state and what should your future state. And then I say, okay, let's take these actions. And then I have set of guardrails. And then I keep on going in this loop unless I reach the final state. Does that make sense? I just floated it. I did not answer your question. So if you reiterate your question.
Kind of does. I kind of get it. I'm just trying to work out where the actual physical decision's sitting. So if, let's say, right, I'm in London in the UK. You're in America. If I log on from where I am, it might think that I've got a question that's based on my context in London, whereas actually it's about the context of the entity that I'm looking at within the contract.
So what happens is you have a signal store, which is based on what problem you are trying to solve, right? So you're taking a generic approach, but you have to be specific on what problem you are trying to solve. So let's take the contract example. The contract, when you upload the contract, the signal store is not your signals. It's the signals provided in the contract. And the contract will say which laws, which is the governing law. And if the governing law is United States, California, then I will fetch California specific knowledge or from the signal store that what laws or compliance I need to do for California.
Okay. Yeah.
Not yours. Then you can upload anything from anywhere. Till the time your governing law is this, I will continue to fetch the same signals. Based on that, I will update what is my current state and future states. And then I will create this plan of actions, and then I will execute them in loop. Good example.
Thank you. Yep, good, thanks.
So this was very, I like when we play with
actually,
these.
I had one quick question on this. I think this example is great. One thing I just wasn't fully following is when you say current and future state, do you just mean like what the agent is doing to the contract, like whatever it's analyzing? Is that what the future state is in that example?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the future state is I need to give you the risks in this contract. The current state is this contract is a California contract, and these are the things that I need to go check.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, and then I need to reach that future state. Okay, I think we are close. This is the part where you will get a lot of details. I know I'm touching a lot of things today. I told you this is a horizontal session, but here is a 1.5 hour YouTube video where I talked about multi-agent, how these come together. We also took an example. We built a Vertex AI agent with multi-agents to show you how these come together and how actually you can build and deploy these. So I highly recommend you to watch this. Last thing, monitoring and optimization. So these are the requirements that you need to put in your PRDs if you're building agents. First, more and more customers, whoever said DeepSeek, one thing they changed the world in last 3 weeks, 4 weeks is everybody need to show their work. So if you have building an agent in your requirement, you have to come bring the user along to see where we are and what's the current state and what the agent is doing. Fine. Second is I should be able to rewind and replay what this agent did and how I got into this loop. If I'm getting into a loop of death, then I should be able to replay that. And those replay requires the third one, which is all the logging and audits for me to see. And also based on that, can I create a scenario of those agents? And third, of course, is LLM agent cost tracking, because the more calls you make, the more tokens it consumes, the more guardrails you put, the more cost it is. And all this just accumulates. So earlier, Sayam was talking about that, hey, this cost matrix or multiple calls that we need to do, that comes here. And you should be able to, your product should be able to do this tracking inside your product. So make sure those requirements are there. And the last thing is every successful task completion needs to be stored and can be used for fine tuning your agent. So make sure you have a requirement where define what a successful task completion is, which can be, you should take 3 turns. If this is the complexity of the task, You should not ask for a human. You should pass all the guardrails, and the cost should be less than Y. And if all that match, make sure you can store it so that you can store it in a way that you can use it to retrain your agent. This is what the reinforcement learning loop somebody else was talking about. So that's your monitoring. One thing that I loved recently is Agent Ops. So this is a library which allows you to do all this, what I was just talking about. It gives you a clear breakdown of where your agent is spending time and how much money you are spending. So highly recommend integrating Agent Ops. If you want to do it, they have a simple lab here. And we have also put a lab here with multi-agents, and we have integrated Agent Ops into Crew. This labs gives you a very clear idea of how it works and you can see it. So next time when you're putting requirements, you have optimization and monitoring requirements also. I will take the questions after this, Pawan, if that's okay. Last thing, future of AI agents. I think we lived in this world where most of the things just, if it was an enterprise to enterprise solution, there were so many solutions, there were so many apps that everybody built, but they are generic apps. There's one CRM system which pretty much rules CRM space, which is Salesforce, you can say, or HubSpot if you are startup. But imagine now what CRM used to do is a statement of record of what happens in a company, and humans were actually doing the job and entering into that CRM system. Now, imagine AI agents which can actually go and do those jobs. To Sayyam's earlier question, those jobs require, for an example, if you go to a dentist, you need to be reminded, you need to be reminder calls, and you have to act that you are coming on your appointment. And some human is doing that for you today. Easily automated, but easily a agent use case. Once you are out of your dentist appointment, they have to do at least 100 pages of compliance for insurance and getting the bills. All that is low hanging fruit for LLMs to go do. Today, some human does it. They have a system, a SaaS based app, which allows them to have that statement of record for compliance. An agent can automatically put all that data into some normal place and extract it. If needed, for reports, for compliance, for training, all that is vertical agents world. And you will see that these SaaS based applications that people are using to do statement of record will be broken down as single applications that job specific agents will take on. And that's where I think most of people are building today. Another example is collections. So you can go and actually automate collections. Some of my friend actually build one, and they just make the first call, and 30% people pay, and they take 50% of that, whatever that number is. And they're like 8 or 9 people, and they made some 7 figures last month in just doing that collections. Another example I just talked about, which is contract redlining or finding risk in a contract. Another one is if you build any documentation for any product, that can be done easily or automatically, because your documentation should be a living, breathing thing. If a human goes in, takes feedback from people, and then says, let's update our documents, that feedback is everywhere. And LLMs are so good at trying your product or reaching or rewriting these documents based on how your customer solved this problem. What role you can play, but just go and find areas where a human does repetitive tasks, especially jobs where it is already outsourced to some country like India, Philippines. All those jobs are very well documented, structured, auditable. There are already benchmarks on whether the job is done or not. And they have done years of work to do quality assurance. Pick those and see if AI agent can do it. And most of them are doable by AI agents. So start there. And how you discover those, just try to be a secret agent. Either do that job or know somebody who does that job, and then apply your AI agent using Langflow, or any other tool of your choice. That's my last thing. I will just stop here. I will take questions. I will stay 10 minutes more. Thanks a lot. This was